Hey, we're Saints. Father Chris here. Welcome to our Crucifixional live stream. Glad to have you beautiful people with us. We've been talking this week about parenting, and last night, just kind of on a whim, I watched a great movie, which I'm sure you've probably seen or heard of, Lean on Me, starring Morgan Freeman. And the story is about a principal in Paterson, New Jersey at a high school, Joe Clark, who went into a school which was total chaos, and he was, tasked to clean it up and to get the students to pass what they called the basic minimum skills test, which they had not passed in previous years. And the story was great. The movie was fabulous. Freeman did a great job. I mean, it was great all the way around. But what was really, impactful for me in light of this week and our teachings about parenting was that he was tough. Crazy Joe Clark, they called him, right? And that was his nickname. He was tough and used, really rigorous discipline. And, the movie chronicled, the ups and downs of this journey where he was trying to get the kids in the right place. He had to fight with the kids. He had to fight with the teachers. He had drug dealers coming into school and miscreants, he called them, and all the parents on the school board, the mayor, the fire chief. I mean, everybody was after him in, this journey. There were lots of ups and downs. But what really kept him focused and enabled him to bring the school to where it needed to be was the discipline that he instituted on the children. Now, as parents, and as we navigate through this kind of softening world in which we live, the word discipline can be dangerous and not acceptable. Probably because in most people's minds, it is conflated, the word discipline is conflated with beating or abuse. And that's not really what the word discipline means, right? It's a Latin rooted word, where we get the word disciple, but its meaning is to teach, right? That's what discipline in the original Latin means, to teach. And we as parents must discipline our kids. Now, sometimes that does mean, we used to say in Arabic, and I used to use with my kids, didde, right? Like we give them a didde. Sometimes it does mean, like the painful aspect of discipline. Some people choose to use timeouts or sending them to the corner or taking things away, or, it's not for me to tell you what type of discipline to use, though the timeouts to me don't always seem to work. But whatever works for you works. It's the point that we are instructed to teach. We cannot just say to our kids, oh, honey, stop it. It's okay. Don't worry. You must be rigorous and stern and strong and loving in your discipline of the children, right? Like, look, Proverbs tells us, we're going to read two of them to you. They're really, they're rough. You can see the first one comes from chapter 12. Whoever loves discipline loves knowledge, but he who hates reproof is stupid. Right? That's the English translation, but it's telling you you're a fool if you don't look for discipline and teaching and knowledge, right? The other one, of course, comes from chapter 13. He who spares the rod hates his son, but he who loves him is diligent to discipline him. Now, in that case, it's the rod. They would in the ancient world, they would whoop the kids. Some of us got, twitches when we was kids too. Not that I was ever bad, but some of us had to deal with that. But it was a sign of love, not as punitive, but instructive, didactic. So first, I think you've got to have it in your mind, parents today and parents someday who will be, do not shy away from discipline. Do not look to let your kids escape or figure it out on their own. They will not. Your job, as we saw earlier this week, is when God gives us children, is to educate them in the faith and fear of God. You must teach them. Sometimes that comes with the rod, sometimes with a soft word, sometimes with, Socratic style leading and questioning, whatever it may be. But teach we must. Discipline our children we must. If we love them, we will do so. Right? You see that. Now, that's not me saying it. That's right from Scripture. So God himself is saying that it is instructive. And ultimately, all of the proverbial texts that we just quoted are modeled on God himself, right? They're uttered from God himself. But the idea is that God disciplines his people in the wilderness, not because he wants to punish them, though he does, but because he wants to lead them to life, right? The judgment that he gives to them is a hope for future generations, that if we live this way, we will find ourselves in the land of promise. The same thing for our kids. So I encourage you, beautiful warrior saints, don't be afraid of discipline for them and in your own life, particularly perhaps in your own life. Seek discipline because it is that which leads to knowledge and ultimately the knowledge of the will of God. Beautiful stuff. We'll be back tomorrow. Love you, beautiful people. As always, keep walking on the way of the warrior saint.